just gonna record here. So for this program, our aim is to support Black entrepreneurs and upcoming entrepreneurs by providing information, strategies, and resources to help increase capacity and viability to innovate your business. So the support services will equip you to drive your business forward and identifies ways to help businesses prosper through webinars, forums, workshops, coaching, networking mixers, business skills development training, peer support, and more best practices related to entrepreneurship. So for today, we'll just ask you to make sure your microphone is on mute, just so that we don't have background noise. We can use the chat function. We can use the raise hand function to ask questions. Please make use of the chat and the raise hand function. And today's session is on communications and public relations by the amazing Natasha Russell. And so Natasha is the founder and CEO of NBR Strategic Solutions. Her business offers coaching, speaking, and consulting services to support purpose-driven entrepreneurs, corporations, and not-for-profit organizations with achieving their business goals. Natasha has more than 17 years of corporate communications experience, working in a variety of sectors, and she's an internationally certified health and life coach, certified motivational speaker, and communications and public relations expert. She enjoys mentoring the youth and is on a mission to make a positive impact globally. Yes, lead with purpose, confidence, and clarity is Natasha's motto. So I will now hand over to Natasha for the session. Welcome, Natasha. We're so happy to have you on here.
Thank you so much, Tessie. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to meet you all. I wish I could see all the faces, but I see some of you all, so that's good. You know, virtually is a challenge for me because I really, you know, for all of us now with pandemic, we've been at home, but it's always nice to be in person. So it's such a pleasure to be here and to share with you all. So today I'm talking a bit about communications, PR, and branding, things that are super important when we want to build a strong, successful business. And I'm assuming everyone in here is a business owner. Raise a hand, yes, or thinking of starting a business? Yes? Okay, I like to keep it engaging, so feel free to say yes in between, it's okay. Or raise your hand so I know, keep it interactive. So how many of you guys are business owners? Raise your hand. I see Trey. How many people are okay, awesome. How many people?
I can find my end, so yeah, I'm business owner too, sorry.
That's okay. And how many people are thinking of starting a business? Great. And how many people are in business and right now the business is, you know, probably struggling a little bit with the pandemic and everything? Yeah. All right. Okay, well, I'm going to share my presentation. And the goal is for this is to be engaging. And I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions. So get your notebook ready, your pens, because it's going to be transformative. And I say transformative because if I were to just speak at you and tell you all the things you should do and upload you with a lot of content, it would probably go over your head. But what I found works really well is if I ask you key questions and I guide you through some of these things, you'll be able to start to think about what's working well in my business, what's not working so well, how can I improve, and what are things I know I need to do right now, things that may be holding you back. A lot of times we let fear hold us back from doing things that are out of our comfort zone. So feel free to think outside the box today and start to build your own strategy around things that you can do, starting your business, building your business, expanding it, okay? So let me share my screen here. And we'll have questions at the end, but I'll have questions throughout. So we'll have a section like 15, 20 minutes for Q&A. All right, so can everybody see my screen? Raise a hand. Yes, awesome. Okay, so as Tessie mentioned, thanks again for the warm welcome. I do coaching, speaking, consulting. I'll dig a little bit more into what I do, but if you're on Instagram, who's on Instagram? Follow me. I share great content for all business owners, for inspiration, motivation. I also have a show I do every Monday for entrepreneurs. And I want to also invite you for the opportunity to be a guest if you're willing to come on and talk about your business, Now, this is different from marketing. It's an opportunity to build relationships. And I'll talk a little bit more about this. People do business with brands they trust. So if you're interested in being a guest on the show, follow me on Instagram at Natasha_B_Russell. Send me a DM and a topic around what you do as a business owner, and I'll schedule a date. Secondly, if you're on Facebook, I have a Facebook page, nbr.dream.believe.achieve. Follow the page, like the page, please. Support me as a business owner as well. I share great content as well to support you in your business, in your life, your health goals, and so forth. And then if you're on LinkedIn, which this is a key tip, all of you ladies, if you're not on LinkedIn, you need to be. This is critical for growing your business. LinkedIn is a professional platform. You meet people from all walks of life. You're able to build connections, and I'll introduce you to people that can build your business as well in my circle. So I'm at Natasha B.Russell, BCMM, PCC. So connect with me on LinkedIn and let's connect. All right. So a little bit about me. Who's NBR? My name is Natasha B. Russell, and I say AKA NBR. I'm glad that my mom gave me, I used to hate that middle name Brenda Lee, but now I love it because it formed my company name and it actually sounds pretty good. So I'm thankful that I love it now. I didn't like when I was growing up. I was born in Calgary, Alberta, so this is home for me, but my family's all from Jamaica. I usually travel there annually, but with pandemic, I have been home with my little girl. That's her right there, Natalia. She's my little princess, and she's actually a little mini entrepreneur as well. So she bakes cupcakes for family and friends and sells them with her own designs. And she's a big part of why I do what I do. So this is us at the Kids Help Phone annual campaign. I volunteer my efforts there every year, working on the campaign again for this May. And if you don't know the Kids Help Phone, they're really big on ensuring that our kids, our youth have a safe space to talk. So they offer texting services. There are around anti-bullying, suicide prevention. And so I give 10% of my proceeds every year to the Kids Help Phone to support them, because that's key. Our youth are they are our future. So a little bit about who I am. I always think about purpose, and wherever you may be right now, I want you to think about purpose and write this question down. What is my purpose? Because your purpose should you have a purpose for why you were born, but there's also a purpose for your business, right? We go into business because we want to solve a problem or provide an opportunity. And what I find is if your purpose from who you are as an individual can be flushed into your business in some capacity, you're going to enjoy that much more. So what is your purpose? Think about that. And when I say purpose, I mean your God-given talents and abilities, those natural skills that you have, and you know what they are. They're unique and that you want to tap into. And how can you use those skills that you've been naturally gifted with in your business? And you know why? That is your unique selling proposition. I want you to write that down. USP is your unique selling proposition. So in business, there's competition, right? And I do believe, yes, there's competition, but if you can figure out your USP, that's what's going to set you apart from your competitors. Now, I don't believe in really competing, so to speak. I believe we need to focus on what we do great and who we want to attract, because there's more than enough clients out there that you're able to serve. So what's your USP? A little bit about what I do. So I do coaching. I offer health coaching services, business coaching, life coaching. As Tessie mentioned, I am a international certified health and life coach. And I pride myself in helping people to get actual results. So when you work with me, if we do work together, my guarantee is that you are going to see the results you came to me for. I don't work with everybody, so I got to make sure that it's a right fit. And I do this through a variety of strategies that I've learned through the last 17 years through working in corporate. I'm also a business mentor with Futurepreneur. So I focus on marketing strategies and communication and PR tactics to help young business owners like yourself to move your business forward. I'm also a mentor with the Calgary Black Chambers. I mentor their youth. I'm also their volunteer strategic advisor. And, you know, with everything that's happening in the world today, especially around like race wars and just what we go through as people, especially as just being individuals, as, you know, Black women and Black men, like it's tough. So I'm doing my part to advocate for us to have equal opportunities, and that's core to me and to the future generation. Now, why do I do what I do? I honestly believe that the more of us who are walking in our God-given purpose, who are living healthier, wealthier lives, that the world will be better. There will be less crime, less suicide, less hate, less poverty, less bullying. And so and I'm saying this to you because you want to think about this in your business too. We're going to talk about it. Why does your business exist? Why should we care? So you know that when you're working with me, this is why I do what I do. Now, I also host workshops. Strategize for Your Success is one of my most well-known ones. I talk about how to create a strategic plan, which is critical. Now, you might say, well, what's a strategic plan? I have a business plan. A business plan is different than a strategic plan. Your business plan is good for you as a guide in your business, but for the banks, for potential investors. A strategic plan helps you to guide your overall arcing strategies around your business. So that might be, we're going to talk about communications, PR, branding, marketing, business development. These are all things that you put into your strategic plan. And I help business owners do that, as well as corporations. And what I find when we have that high level, very direct strategic plan, you're able to accomplish your goals much faster and with a clear vision. I also do confidence workshops. I do confidence coaching, because growing up, I didn't have a lot of confidence, and confidence is something that continues to grow over time. I dealt with a lot of things growing up in my childhood, bullying, illnesses, but once I was able to overcome that, and I say for me, the life-changing moment for me was going to church when I was 11 and hearing the pastor say that I was fearfully and wonderfully made. And that for me was a mindset shift. When I started to think, hey, I'm not flawed. It doesn't matter what people say about me or think about me. I was able to think differently and start to build my confidence. So now that you know a little bit more about me, I'd love to hear more about you guys. Feel free to put in the chat, where are you from? What's one thing you want to take away from today that would be most valuable to your business? And I'll ask Tessie to share that with me at the end. But what's one thing that if you could take away today would be most beneficial to your business? All right, so today's agenda, we're talking about branding. What is it? I'm going to share with you a brand formula. Get ready. We're getting to work, people. This is a workshop style format. Should be exciting, should be fun, because your business is your baby. I look at it and it's growing, right? Like a baby does. We're going to talk about brand development. We're going to talk about effective communications. Yes, we're speaking, but how are we speaking? Who are we speaking to? Why? When? How? We're going to talk about public relations, also known as PR. I'm talking a little bit about a PR strategy. You should have one. If you don't, would love to work with you on any of these items here today. And then I'm going to talk with you and share a list of key PR tactics that if you're not already using, you should consider, depending on the kind of business you're in. I'll then also share with you a little bit of my testimonies and my services. Should you want to work with me, I'm also offering a 30% discount just for you guys till the end of May if you want to work with me on any of my services to build your business and to build your brand. And then we'll have Q&A. Sounds good? Raise hand. Nobody's sleeping on me yet? This is supposed to be fun, ladies. Have fun. Let's have fun. We do great work when we're having fun, right? Okay, so branding. Question. Do you have a strong brand? Who has a strong brand? Raise your hand. You think so? I'm going to scroll down on here so I can see. Who has a strong brand? Yes? I saw one hand wave. I think a half a wave. Was that Trey? Okay. Not sure? Anybody super confident that they have a strong brand? Okay, well, put that question in your head. Do I have a strong brand? And you'll probably be thinking, well, what is a brand? We all know them. We see them every day. We do business with them every day. So branding, what is it? Branding is the process of creating a strong, positive perception of your company, its products and services in your customer's mind. So you got to think about, what does your brand actually represent? Write these things down. You may not have the answers now, but when you leave the seminar, I want you to go back and do your homework. What does your brand represent? And how are you building trust right now with your clients, with your customers? Because one thing is for sure a fact, and research proves this: consumers do business with brands they trust. Consumers do business with brands they trust. And even if you mess up and you fess up to that, you can still save your reputation and rebuild again and have those lifelong customers. Now, when you go into business, you want to have lifelong customers, repeat customers. You want to have referrals. So think about, what are you doing currently right now to build trust in your business? And if you're not, what could you be doing to do such thing? So here's the magic formula. It's very short and sweet, and I'm going to dig into this on the next slide. So your brand formula is who we are. So as an organization, who we are, who we're for, why it matters. So what's your business about? Who's your ideal client? Now, when you think about your ideal client, do you have a customer avatar? I say this because you should think about your clients' day-to-day habits. What do they to do for fun? What is their income? What is their interest? What are their pain points? Who's your actual ideal customer or client? And then you got to think about, why does it matter? So why should you matter? Why are you important? Why is your business super important? What pain point do you solve? What need do you give? What opportunity do you bring to the marketplace, right? Because we go into business to, I always say, don't go into business just to make money. You got to go into business with a purpose first, and then the money's going to come. I can guarantee you. Don't just say, I want to have a business just to make money and be wealthy or whatever. Make sure that it's aligned with your purpose. The money will come, I'll guarantee you. So why do you matter? So let's think about brands we love. You're thinking about brand. I don't know brands. You do know brands. Nike. Who knows the slogan? I wish I could hear. Everybody knows it. Just do it, right? How long did it take that to build that brand, right? When you think about, I love Tom's shoes, not on here, but you know, when you buy a pair of Tom's shoes, they give a pair of shoes to somebody in need, right? Everybody knows Google. Everybody knows McDonald's. These are things, brands all around, Facebook, Starbucks. Think about your company in that perspective. Do you want your company to be a brand that's well known? Do you want your company to be a brand that's well known? A lot of times we get this wrong in business. I've heard this so many times from clients, and I cringe. The first thing, and I've made this mistake too, starting out. I spent several thousands of dollars building a website thinking that clients would just come. No, that's actually the last thing you do. You get your business set up. We know that was set up, but you actually want to think about your branding strategy, who you are, who you're for, why it matters, your communication, your PR tactics, your overall marketing strategy will fuel into that before you build the website, before you start building out any kind of platforms. This will flush out on your website. So if you're wondering maybe why you have a website, you spent thousands of dollars. I've heard people spend 10, 20, 30,000 of dollars on their website and they have no brand strategy. And they're wondering why they can't gain clients. So when you think about it, what brands do you love and why? And see how you can mimic that a bit in your business, not copy it, but what are the things, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when I talk about brand emotion. So brand development, it's a heavy slide. What I'm giving you here is a gift. It's really how to create a brand development strategy. I normally share this with clients who are paying me, but I'm giving it to you guys for free. If you do the work, you'll get results. And if you need help, I'm here to support you. So this is the first, there's a variety of questions here, but we're gonna go through it one by one. So write this down again. Who am I? Like, what does my business exist? What do you represent? Do you have those three questions answered? Hopefully you do. And if you don't, that's okay. Now I want you to think about your brand values, and feel free where you are, write these key questions down. Again, I know it might be hard to answer right now on the spot, but these are key things you should think about when you're building your brand. So we got our brand. Who are we? What do we represent? Why do we exist? The next thing you want to think about is brand values. What is important to my brand, to my company? What do we believe in? Who do we believe in? What do we stand for? Why do we exist? What is the difference or the impact you're trying to make in the community, in your clients' eyes, or what pain point? Like what resonates for you? Why do you get up every day and do what you do? What is your values? Are you keen on honesty, integrity, professionalism? Now that means different. Professionalism is a word that means different things to different people. Do you follow up with your clients? Do you actually hear what they're saying? Are you just trying to make a sale and get on to the next client? Or do you value their business? Do you want to gain their trust so that they continue to come back to you? Are you charging your worth, but is it fair and result of what your client's getting? So what do you value? That should be a part of your brand, and your clients, your customers, as you're building that, should know that. Now your mission, I mentioned my mission was to, in a nutshell, end poverty, do my part to end a portion of poverty. I know I can't end global poverty, but poverty, bullying, suicide, all of these. What's your grandiose mission? Why does your business align it with a mission? And you know why? When you have that mission, align with it, people are more willing and wanting to do business with you because they know that it's greater than yourself. And that's what it should be. As millennials, they're social. They like to do things that are going to help the economy or the environment, right? They're thinking about things about making the world better. Like, so how does your company help make the world better? What is your mission? Then I want you to think about brand emotion. And this one can be a little bit tricky. I always do a brainstorming session around this, but I can't do that now, but I'll do that with you if we work together. But think about, what is the emotion you want people to feel when they interact with your brand? Do you want them to feel happy, excited, empowered? What should they feel? Even if you get a nice hairdo, you feel beautiful, confident, right? You can still think about that emotion. What does that look like? And then we all know this. Like I just mentioned, Nike, very well known. We know this. Just do it. So what is your brand slogan? Do you have one? Have you thought about it? Like for mine, it's be confident, it's be fearless, it's be bold, be you. What is your brand slogan? What are you resonating to your clients and your prospective clients or customers? Does everybody have this slide captured? Can I get a, yeah, moving on to the next. So that's brand development. So any questions you have, put them in the chat, or we'll get to them towards the end. Very key. Before you think about really marketing anything, you got to build on your brand, and your brand will take time to grow. Now let's talk about communications. My favorite thing. I think it's an art, it's a skill, it's something that you got to build on. But there is a term called effective communications. And so you think about effective communications, it should be two-way. Marketing is one-way communications. You're selling something, sell. When you're communicating with PR, it's mutually beneficial. I'll get to that. So it should be two-way communication. So here's your key communication question to ask yourself when you're building your communication plan for your target audience. So your audience, who are you trying to reach? Get super specific. One thing I learned in my business, I was trying to help everybody, and I can't help everybody, but I know what I'm good at and what can I be good at and who do I want to serve? So think about exactly who are you trying to reach? So let's say, for example, you're sending out a newsletter, you have a subscription list on your website. So your audience is there, but what do you want them to do? What's the call to action? Now, everybody's bombarded on social media, inundated with emails. There's just so much out there. It's content heavy. So the question and the things that you need to think about strategically is, how do I stand out from the crowd? Make sure that your action steps to what you want to do is in that subject line of an email, a newsletter. Make sure that it's very concise and to the point. So action, what do you want them to do? There's a reason why I'm communicating with you. What is it? Why are you communicating? And then the reward. Well, what's in it for them? Even when you think about selling a product or a service, well, what will they receive as a result of working with you or buying from you or responding to that email or coming to that event? What is the actual reward? This is what I'm talking about when you think about effective communication. This is going to increase your readership rate. It's going to increase your response rate in emails. So this is the magic formula here. Then images. We know this. You got to be visual, especially if you're on Instagram. We know this. A lot of the posts that get a lot of likes or engagement are visuals. Instagram is really for visuals. TikTok's really for videos, right? When you think about LinkedIn, it's content heavy. So I found this out last week that LinkedIn is one of the least underrepresented platforms for content. So again, going back to my first point in the presentation, if you're not on LinkedIn, you definitely need to be there. Your clients are there. Clients that are willing to pay for your services are on LinkedIn. So content for them, images for Instagram, for example. When you bring them together with effective communications skills that I'm sharing with you, you're going to get increased response rate. Now think about your openings. Now this sounds a bit, what do you mean? How do you get through? You have to think about, how do I declutter with all the clutter that's happening around? How do I declutter my message? How do I, because people are going through a pandemic, a lot of people are not in a different mindset. So timeliness, making sure that your message is timely with what's happening in the world. Maybe it's relating to the budget that just passed a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was on March 8th and we had International Women's Day. Like making sure that you're in sync with when your messaging are connecting, and there should be some relatability, because people want to feel heard. They want to feel appreciated. They want to feel seen. So how can you relate to them with your business? Now, evaluation is key. And a lot of times we don't do this step and we end up wasting a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of resources. Evaluate. What is the response rate? Are people responding? Are people registering? And do it depending on your tactic, which is your action step. It may be weekly, it may be monthly, it may be quarterly. So if you don't have, my boss tip from this is create an effective communication plan for your business. So if you don't have one, again, create an effective communication plan for your business. If you're not sure how, I'm here to help you. Let's talk about public relations. Anybody know what PR is? Raise your hand. Yes, I think what people think about PR, like when I started going, like I went to MRU as a mature student, you know, we thought about that show Sex in the City, and like how Samantha would be like the spin doctor. That's not PR. It's not it. So PR is a lot of things, but key, and one thing that resonated with me, PR is building mutually beneficial relationships. Mutually. Don't go into business trying to be one-sided. I got a client, I'm good, next. Mutually beneficial. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a media perspective. So if we were to define it, it says public relations is the practice of increasing awareness around a company or brand among the public. So that's a lot of things when you think about the public, right? So I want to ask you this question. What are you currently doing right now in your business or planning to do when you start that business to increase awareness around that? What does that look like? Again, I'll just put that question out there, write it down, take a time to come back to it. What are you currently doing to increase awareness around your business? And if you're not currently doing anything, what do you want to do? What are some of the ideas you've been thinking about? All right. Let's talk about a PR strategy. I feel like I'm giving you a lot. This is like probably the last heaviest slide. Okay. So who is your audience again? Remember I talked about creating your customer avatar, knowing who they are, their ins and their outs, where they are. You know, I think the thing is on social, people feel like they have to be everywhere. I want to caution you to be everywhere. You don't have to be on Pinterest and on TikTok and on Clubhouse and on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and the list goes on. You don't have to be everywhere. You only need to be where your clients are, where your prospective clients are. So my strategies, I have 3, now maybe 4 channels that I'm on. I'm just getting on, I've been on Clubhouse, but I haven't been engaging there yet, but I will be. But those are my 4 things. I'm not on Twitter, but I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, and Clubhouse is my new. What platforms are you using? And media is a huge thing. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in this next slide. But where are your audience? That's exactly where you need to be. You don't need to be everywhere. So if you're hearing that notion that I have to be everywhere, social media, PR, it can be very draining. So be intentional about where you are. And a tip for you, if you are using these platforms, there's a tool called Buffer or Hootsuite. You can use these tools and you can create your strategy or your content, put it in there, and then it'll send them out on a scheduled, Facebook has it as well. You can schedule posts and it'll send it out for you. So normally, ideally, you can go the week before and say, okay, next week I'm going to do 3 posts or maybe a post a day, and I'm going to be sharing this, and it's scheduled. It'll save you time and you can put it out. The only caveat there, the thing I want you to think about is crises happen, things happen. You want to be timely on social media. So be prepared that should something happen that day and your post is not going to be in alignment or it's really off-centered, that you can quickly go back in and reshape your messaging. So goals. So now we're thinking about, when you think about why you're in business, you're in there to provide a product or a service, but what are your goals around anything you do? Goal setting is critical. And it should be in any strategy. So goals are smart. And I say this in the sense that they should be specific, they should be measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals. Again, SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So maybe you're going to say, I'm going to sell 10 cases of shampoo by May 31st, 2021. That's specific. Or I'm going to gain 3 new clients by May 31st, 2021. That's specific. That way you can go back and measure and see how you're doing. A lot of times we say we want things. Oh, I want my business to be successful. Well, what does success actually mean to you? So define what success means, and don't overwhelm yourself with thinking about a year out or 5-10 years out. Just think about monthly goals for now. Have an annual strategy. I recommend a yearly, but have monthly goals. This month I want to accomplish this. And that's going to decrease your overwhelm when you're building your business. Or this month, I just want to work on my brand strategy and get that down pat. I don't have to have it all ready right now. Baby steps, because what I've learned, and things are going to change. We're going to always be growing. We're going to have to pivot. That's the word we, of last year. But be adaptable and be kind to yourself. It doesn't have to be all done right now, and be willing to make mistakes. Just don't give up. Now let's talk about key messages. So key messages in a nutshell, when you did your brand development, or you're going to do it, you're going to develop value statements, mission statements, things that are important to you. These formulate your key messages. I recommend you have 3 to 6 key messages. Why? You can use this in any of your content strategy, but you can also use in your PR releases. Why do we exist? Why do we do what we do? What are some new initiatives that are coming out? What are you communicating? Why? So develop your key messages. And then you think about your tactics. We're going to get into that, but what are they? What are the action steps you're going to do to build your business? Are you going to go to a lot of virtual webinars and showcase your business? Are you going to pitch a lot to the media? Are you going to start blogging? What are some of the tactical things you're going to do to get to the overall strategy, the overarching goal, and then timeline. So think about when you're going to be doing these tactics, how often. Don't burn yourself out. You might have this goal of, I want to post every day, but do you really need to post every day? Maybe once a week is good. Maybe 3 times a week is good. And then you want to evaluate. Is it working? Is what you're currently doing working? Are you attaining customers, clients, engagement, feedback? And if it's not working, then it's time to adjust your strategy. Now, this is like a heavy list of just things you could be considering to do if you haven't already in your business. So I talked about Hootsuite and Buffer as tools you can use to share your messages on social media. Buffer is free. Hootsuite, I think, has a free account for a month, but then you have to pay. So how are you cross-promoting your channels? So what are you sharing on Twitter? Is it in alignment with Facebook, LinkedIn? There's all different content strategies. What's the call to action? Always have a call to action. Create client customer-centric messages. Put yourself in your customer's shoe. Be relatable, that they want to do business with you. It's okay to show your fun side, your quirky side, your authentic self. Because what I'm realizing too is that people fall in love with you just by being who you are and being vulnerable and showing that side of yourself. You also want to, and I highlighted relationships, because this is the key thing with PR, it's relationship building. So what are some journalists you can connect with, some bloggers, some influencers that are out there right now that you probably want to connect with? Build those relationships, and you don't do that with the goal of trying to get business or to get your word out. You start by doing that with, hey, okay, maybe it's a financial journalist and you're a financial coach, or you offer financial services. What you would do then is start sending them content that would be beneficial to their audience, not your content yet, but you're building that trust with relevant content that they can rely on. And then when it's time for your event or your big launch, they're going to be more willing to share your story, and at no cost. There's paid media and there's paid media and earned media. So earned media is when you send a PR release out, they'll pick it up, no charge to you. Paid is when you actually have to pay for the segment. I always encourage earned media. It's always nice that way, and it saves you money. And why wouldn't we want to save money? We're in business, okay? Then, so you promote your press release. The thing about that, there's a way to write a correct press release. If you're not sure how, I can teach you, but they should be very short, succinct, no spelling errors, straight to the point. Who, what, where, when, why. Who, what, where, when, why. That's the formula for a press release. Then you want to find relevant and trending topics, what's popping right now, what's happening in the community, hashtag that, jump on that bandwagon, be a part of that conversation. You also can think about becoming a thought leader. What are you passionate about? What does your business stand for? Think about your mission. How can you share content around that? Once you start to share content, people begin to trust you and believe in your product or your service, then you gain more followers, you gain more influence. Again, sharing valuable content. When I say about strategy for social media or whatever, don't just share to share, just like I got to put a post out every day. Make sure every post you put out is intentional, that it actually adds value to someone's life. The thing is, if you have a negative of a client, if you launched a product, for example, and a client tried your product and they were unhappy, they didn't like it, you're probably going to lose that client. Like, that's the first impression. So think about your valuable content that way. Am I putting out stuff that's valuable, that's newsworthy? Or am I just putting out stuff because I want to put out stuff? Be intentional. Less is more in this case. And then you always want to generate traffic to your website if you have one. But on your website, it's supposed to do things. It's supposed to convert a customer. It's supposed to provide a product or a service, a way to provide or to pay for that product or service. Make sure it's easily accessible and painless for the client. Also, another thing I want to throw in was podcasts and interviews. Like I mentioned, if you want to be a guest on my show or other podcasters out there, or even start your own podcast, great thing to do. Why not start your podcast and start talking about what your business is around and have guests on? Great way to generate valuable content and income as it grows, and share your key messages around your brand, why you do what you do, build influence. Very key, and a lot of people are doing that right now. But again, think about your USP. You can't just mesh in with everybody else. How are you going to stand out? And then last but not least, I feel like I've given you guys a lot to go with. Events. So there's virtual events like this one right now. You could go to trade shows. Everything's virtual right now anyway, but you should be in the room where your clients are or where your potential partnerships could be. How do you promote your business? Get in the room. And I think at times, sometimes we're afraid to do presentations. Every time I speak, I'm nervous. I want to do a great job. I don't know if it's nerves, but I always have that feeling in my stomach, like, oh my God, I want to do great. And that's okay to feel that, but get out of your comfort zone and do it anyway. All right, so box tip here is to be consistent, timely, and effective. Sometimes we start things and we fall off. So be consistent, keep going. Even when you're not seeing the results that you want, keep going. You don't know who's watching. A lot of times people are watching, they may not be commenting, but they're watching, and you never know who may be watching that can support your business. So I just want to wrap up with some testimonials. You're probably wondering, well, who am I? Just met her, but I do work with a lot of organizations, like I said, nonprofit organizations like the Calgary Black Chambers. I did their strategy session. Mount Royal University, I did their strategy session for them for the year. I don't know if anybody knows CareFest Calgary, working with Dale, Yoyan from Business Link. These are just a few of the testimonies that I have. And the point is that I'm sharing this with you, but when you have your business, do you have testimonials that you can share? If you don't, start asking your clients or your customers for testimonials, because how will anybody know that your business or your product is good? You can't be the own brand ambassador. You want to turn other people into your brand ambassadors. And that's what testimonials do. They let people speak for you. They let people become your referrals. And that's key in business. So if you haven't already been doing that, start to obtain your testimonials from clients you work with or customers and start putting them on your website, start sharing them on your social media platforms. Not all, like this is just a few of them, but bits by bits, that will help build your brand, that'll help build your credibility, that'll help build your trust. And so my special offer for you guys today, as I mentioned, I do coaching, I do speaking, I do consulting, and I would love to help you with your business. Now, if you're in your business and you're like, I don't know where to start, I'd love to work with you to start your business, not your business plan. Essentially, I could support you on that, but more along your strategy. Maybe you have some things that you want to work on with communication and confidence, ability to speak. I'd love to work with you on that. Or maybe you're in your business right now, and a lot of my clients come to me like this, entrepreneurs who are like, I'm struggling and I don't know what I'm doing. I have a marketing strategy. I've been paying thousands of dollars every month on Facebook ads, but nothing's working. I'd like to work with you to figure out what the gaps are. So I have a Boss Up Business coaching program that's once a week, but we can spread that over 6 months. I have a Communicate with Confidence coaching program. I also have the brand development and strategic planning, which is sort of what I walked you through in the beginning. So if those questions you're not able to answer and you're not really sure how to formulate that, I would work with you on that. I also have a vision board strategy session, which is super important. You got to know where you're going. You got to know what you want to get it. And I also offer, I'm excited to offer this because I know a lot of people, it's a pandemic and the cost right now is high for a lot of people. People are, losing their jobs, unfortunately, don't have a lot of money. I'm offering group coaching sessions. So I'm going to have some for the ladies starting next month in May and for the men. So you come together and it's going to be a tight knit group. You pay us nominal fee. That's going to range from $200 a month, meeting once a month. And we get to coach, like coach you in a group, or you want to do private. Those are $1,000 a month for 4 sessions. But then I'm also offering you 30% off just because you're a part of the group here until the end of the month. For strategic planning, that's a bit more heavier because again, I'm helping you build your brand and there's a lot that goes into that. That starts from $1,500 to $3,000, but then you have a solid plan to ramp up and to gain clients. So if you want to work with me, the first step that you need to do, because I don't work with everyone, just because I want to make sure that I can make, it's a good fit, give you the results. Go to my website at natashabrussell.com. I give you 30 minutes of free chat. So we just talk about your business. What are your pain points? What's working, what's not? I'll give you some tips. And if you want to, I'll give you an advice on what I think would be a good fit for you, maybe from a program perspective or what's missing. And if I can help you, which 9 out of 10 times I do, and I can, I'll work with you to move your business forward. All right. So natashabrussell.com, 30 minutes, that's the starting point. Let's connect. And I want to say thank you. I hope that this was great for you all and you learned a lot. And I'm on time, 6:43. So I'll stop sharing. And let's do some Q&A. Or if we can. It seems like is my mouse dying? You gotta love those Macs. Oh, it won't let me stop sharing. Hang on, there we go. All right.
Thank you, Natasha.
Questions. I know you guys must have questions.
We have Fatu. Fatu, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful and informative presentation, really. And I have 2 questions, actually. The first one is about LinkedIn. I started creating a profile, but the problem I have right now is that because of the job I'm doing, I cannot really put my business in there and the job. So my question was, can I just have a LinkedIn profile for the business? So nothing else, or what do you think?
Yes, that's a great question. It can be challenging when you're working for someone, you want to start your business. You could actually create 2 profiles.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would recommend. There is a risk that they might find alignment with that, but go ahead and create a second profile and you market your business. Great question. And I get it a lot.
Okay. And if I may, the second question, it's about the website. And oh my God, I saw myself when you were talking about do not start building a website before you set your brand, because I was like, what is a brand anyway? So I did that. Now I have my website. I do have some sales that I do through my website, and I ship to other provinces. I'm in Alberta. So right now I'm like, okay, this website is up. I didn't pay thousands of dollars, but I mean, it's cumulative, right? And I'm like, okay, I cannot really close it because it's everywhere. I advertise it, and people are still going there. But at the same time, I'm like, what do I do with that? So
what I'm hearing is you have a website, but it's not probably branded, or it's not the best website right now, but people are going there. Is that correct? And you're wondering if,
in my opinion, there is a lot more that I could do, but the way the mentality I was in when I built that website is that this is what I want to do. It's going to take me time, but this is what I have right now, and I'm going to put it out there instead of just waiting and trying to perfect it. So that's how I was like, okay, just get out there, and then you're going to swim anyway.
yes. And that's it. It's for 2, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. When I started my website, I have someone that does my website now. But when I started, I was still working in corporate. Evening, my daughter would go to bed, and I was up late, literally up until 12, 1 every night working on my website. And it was all red because I loved red at first. It was horrible. But the thing, and when I launched it, I had 5,000 people come to my site. Like, I had this big ramp up, get ready, and I had no call to action. So don't worry about if it's branded, it's beautiful. Your website it's not really about being beautiful. It needs to be effective. Does it have a call to action? When they come to your page, number 1, is there a way for you to track their information? So everybody should have a pop-up of some sort, or and like an insider form at the bottom of their page where people can enter their email address and get more information from you. So you always want to get their information. As long as your website is doing that, take your time and rebuild it as you go on. And then 2, are you converting people? So is there a way that people can buy your services from your website or find more about that? So as long as your website's doing that, it doesn't have to really be pretty. It just needs to convert people and to have a way to attract and retain that information so that you can get it to them effectively.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Welcome. I see Iola's hands up.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
So
Thanks for the informative session. It's been really, I don't know, I have like 3 pages full already. Okay, so I have a question. My business, I actually like make and sell children's apparel, but currently I'm looking at moving into something completely different, which is like childcare services. So I'm looking at how to communicate that across and not like sounding confused to my customers, like, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing now? Like, I don't know.
okay, so currently, what do you have for like channels? Do you have a website, like your marketing child or child?
No, just social media pages, like like Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that.
So is it a new company you're forming, or is it like a subsidiary, like an extension of your original company?
I'm actually looking at just stopping that and focusing on the childcare service.
Yeah. You know what? You can keep current if you're done with that business, close it up and start fresh with all this rebranding and everything and announce. And you don't have to really apologize to people. You just have to communicate why you're making that change. So maybe since the pandemic, you realize that this is really important to you, providing childcare services. You're a mom, you love kids, and now you've decided that this is where your passion is and you want to be able to provide these services. And then you just start. It's not really about confusing your customer. It's about being clear on what you're serving or how you're serving and why, and then providing that service. So does that answer your question?
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah.
Doesn't matter what people, one thing I've learned, Iola, it doesn't matter what people really think, it's what you think. And of course you want to maintain your brand and be positive. But if you're making your family, really what you and your when you rebrand, with the right, think about exactly who your audience is and what they need from you. And then you have a launch around it and you make it exciting.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure. Do we have any other questions? I'm trying to scroll through. Any more questions, ladies?
Natasha, you mentioned about, you said rebranding. So how does that, when you are trying to do that, like for, let's say, Iola, for example, like the one she gave, like that's a good example. I mean, do you keep aspects of your business or you revamp everything? Because
Great.
you announce like, okay, this is why I'm moving, but what do you do?
Great question. So if your services change or your product changes, you are actually starting from scratch. But if it's an extension of what you're already doing, then you're just providing an extension to that brand. So it really depends on like, if she's starting over, like let's say she's selling childcare clothes, now she's not, or children clothing, now she's not doing that at all. Now she's doing a daycare, for example. Very different. Where you'd confuse your customer is she still selling childwear clothes or children clothing, or is she doing daycare services? So that would end that business. This is what I do now. Do you see what I mean? But if she was still selling clothing, guess what? I'm selling clothing and I have a daycare and I actually you can order online or through the daycare, then you're merging the two. It's still an extension. The key is in branding. You want to be super clear. Like this was a challenge for me when I started, but I do coaching, speaking, and consulting. It's all in alignment with business strategy, all in alignment. It's just different strategies of how I deliver that service. I may speak on strategy. I may coach on strategy, right? I may consult on strategy. Same key messages, but different strategies in how I'm delivering that product or that service. Does that help? Yeah. Terry.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for your information and your presentation. I have a question. I am in the childcare business, and you had asked a question, how would I go on Facebook groups where I can meet clients, promote my business through that, through Kijiji, in my town that I do it with, because that's where I am. I'm also with the agency, so they also get clients for me, but it's still my business. I get clients for myself. What would be the next step to, like I said, I go on Facebook groups, I promote my business through that, especially when I need clients, because I can only take a certain amount, obviously, because of policy, government policy and licensing. what would be the next step? I was thinking of doing like blogs or just snippets of like childcare strategies that worked for me with working with kids. And I know some parents would love that. How would I go about bringing that up in those groups? Because mainly those groups are for people looking for childcare, but I also want to share some of the tools and techniques that have worked for me through that. Would that be something that will promote my business or hurt my business? Because people will think of me like, wow, you're only working with challenging behavior. So you're only talking about challenging behavior, or talking about things like that. What do you think?
Okay, great question. So the question is, what's the goal? Always ask yourself, what's the goal? What do I want to achieve with this, the tactic? So if you're looking to expand and gain more clients, or you're looking just for other ways to add value, it sounds like you want to.
I want people to know who I am, so that when they're looking, oh, I know this lady has a daycare, so that they can contact me, whether or not I have space or not necessarily going to Google Analytics and doing that whole Google thing. I want them at the tip of their tongue. I'm one of the daycares that they think of and feel, because I'm active on their childcare provider network, or I'm active on the Mommy's network, like that. So that, because that's what I thought branding was, when I kind of like, they see you, they know who you are, you know what I mean? And that's it. So I want to take it to a step further, not just advertising and have my clients say, oh, she's good, I recommend her kind of thing. I want people to say, oh, even if they don't have kids with me, that they can recommend me, because I'm also with the agency, and that's part of making my business legit, as well as keeping things kosher for a lot of people, because I'm a Black woman in a community that serve a lot of Caucasian people who I only have Caucasian kids in my care. So I want to, keep it, kosher, as I say. But it gives a lot of people peace of mind going through the agency too. And it's very beneficial for myself through this agency. But I also want people to like see me and say, oh, I recommend this person. And I thought about, doing quick blurbs on the website, Mommy's Network, as well as that, that we have here in our town. I don't know, I don't want it to be like I'm coaching kids, you know what I mean? Make parents think I'm a coach to coach challenging behaviors when it comes to that. But I want my daycare business to be on the tip of their tongues. You know what I mean? Even if they don't have children in my care,
Yeah, you want to be top of mind. So when people think about childcare, you want them to think about you, is what I'm hearing, right? And so you're asking, what are some other things I can do to keep my brand in their minds?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, get it. So you said like blogging. Yes, you can do blogging. The thing is, when you start blogging, be consistent. Think about where you're sharing those blogs, and make sure you have enough content and it's valuable content. The next thing about blogging, it should be well written. If you're thinking about even LinkedIn or where your platforms are, if you're on Kijiji, whatever, not, your content should be well written to attract the kind of clients that you want, right? You can also have groups. Yes, mommy groups have conversations around things, challenges that parents are even going through in a pandemic. So how do you think about what you just said? You want to be top of mind. We'll provide those outlets for people to connect with you, and then share the value of what you do. And that's how you stay relevant, not by just popping up once in a while, but if it's a weekly blog, which is heavy intensive, depending on your time, or a monthly blog that they can count on, or a newsletter with tips and things to do, be consistent and start doing that. And what you will have, like you said, is brand awareness. And people will always be thinking, oh yes, I know her. I know a daycare lady, and so forth. Even they don't even have kids. Or when they do have kids, you're already ingraining in their head that they should think of you, right? And there's a lot of things you can talk about around childcare. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Is there questions in the chat? I haven't looked in the chat.
We had a question in the chat, yes, Khaleesi.
Okay, do you mind reading it out for me?
Oh, yeah. Do you mind sharing tips on balancing work, starting / owning a business, and parenting?
Tell me about it. It's tough. Yourself into clone. The key thing is, every day, and this is what I do, and I wake up, I say, what are my top 3 priorities? right? So you have to create a calendar that works for you. So my daughter is in grade 2. She gets on the school bus. Thank God everything's with COVID. And I have that time frame between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. when she gets in. So I book like usually my coaching sessions in the afternoon. I do my strategy work, my relationship building in the mornings. I take time during the day, like whether it be lunchtime, to take time away from the computer or from meetings to just recharge. Going before bed, sometimes we're more prone to want to go on our phone and be checking social media or whatever. Program yourself to when you get into your room, your phone goes away, your TV's not on, and it's time for meditation, for prayer, for reading. You know, when I start my mornings, the first thing I say, and you can do something similar for yourself, is thank you, God, for waking me up in my right sound mind. And I start to think about the things I'm working toward, the vision. What does it look like? Who am I impacting today? Who can I impact? And so I've created an affirmation deck that's an audio. You can do this for yourself as well. Quick tip there, affirmations only work unless you believe them, but I have it playing. So when I'm working out in the morning, health and wellness is important too. Physical activity of some sort, whether it be yoga on YouTube, a YouTube channel, or you have your own workout equipment. Figure out how you want your ideal day to be. What does work-life balance mean to you? Then create this calendar for that and then stick to it. And everything else that doesn't fit into it, it's okay to say no. Does that help? It's okay to say no. I see Cal's face. Does that help? Does it? What's key important, right? When the kids come home, my daughter comes home, it's quality time. My phone goes away. Like I try not to book anything in the evenings, you know, and if I have anything in the evenings, I spread it out. Like this week I'm here and I'm here tomorrow. I don't normally do that, right? It's usually like one evening gig a week. Everything has to be during the day. So you have to prioritize what's most important to you. At the end of the day, if you burn yourself out from business, you have no time to give to your family, your loved ones. So the rule is, if you take away anything from what I just said, self-care has to be your number one priority. And when you think about self-care for you, what does it mean? You create your day around that. And anything else that doesn't fit in there, you say, I'm sorry, it's not today. It may be tomorrow, it may be next week. So prioritizing what's important, creating your calendar, your weekly, your to-dos for the day, and everything else doesn't matter for the day, unless it's critical. Things happen. Does that help?
Khaleesi also had another question here. Do you mind explaining more about how or where we can promote a blog effectively?
Yes, your website. You should have a website if you do, right? And then you put it on your website and then you share the link. Then you share your link on LinkedIn. You can share it on all your social media platforms with a nice image. Today's topic or today's weekly topic is X, and you want to direct them back to your website. They come to your website, that's where all your services for sale are normally, right? So you write your blog on your website. You can use, like I have something built in, I use Weebly as my platform, which is Square. But we use what we call, like they have a built-in platform, but there's MailChimp, which is free, essentially, it's cheaper, right? But do your blog on your website, copy the link, share the link on all your platforms, your social media platforms.
Thank you, Natasha. Any more questions for the wonderful Natasha? This has been awesome. Khaleesi.
Sorry. Okay. So you said your daughter is, thank you so much once again. You said your daughter is a little entrepreneur. So how do we say, influence our children into the business world, and how do we support them?
That's a great question. And that's one thing I didn't want to mention, but I am starting a youth foundation because entrepreneurship is key. We're not taught entrepreneurship in school. We're taught to go to work, get a good job, get an education, and go work and that's fine for someone else. Entrepreneurship, you have a lot of risks associated with it, right? Essentially. But how do you encourage your little one to do that? This is how you do it. Do you have a little one, for example? Do you? A big one? Tell me, I can't hear you. Tell me, do you have?
It's huge. But yes.
How old is he?
He's 9.
Okay, perfect. Well, what is he interested in right now?
You know, I've been a terrible parent. I have no clue. I've been so busy. I'm sorry. But we're going to have that conversation very soon.
And one thing I always want to say to you,
Yeah.
Don't say you're a terrible parent. I know we deal with mommy guilt. I feel like that all the time too. Don't be kind to self, right? Sometimes we start to believe these things and it does embed in our mind and it happens to become a reaction in our bodies and we start to be acting like that and you're not. So stop being negative towards yourself. That's the first thing I want to say. Give yourself some grace and respect. You're a mom, you're doing what you can do to provide for him. Now if you want to encourage entrepreneurship, you ask him what is of interest to him. What does he enjoy doing? And then you figure out how to monetize on that. So for example, with no pressure, for fun. So my daughter started to do baking and she makes slime. She's all these ideas. And I'm like, I have to support her. She wants to do a YouTube channel, one thing at a time. So number one, you focus on education. But in the meantime, their spare time, you figure out what he enjoys and how can you monetize that. So maybe my daughter, she likes to make cupcakes. We start to sell them to family. And then friends, like, oh, they're having a birthday party. Can Natalia make cupcakes and design them? So I'm not sure what your son is interested in, but you start by just having the conversation by saying, hey, but you say, hey, son. I hear someone.
There's a background noise.
Maybe you can mute her, Tessie, but you say, hey, son, what are you interested in? What's the vision? It's not too young to start asking your kids about what their goals and their dreams are. What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you enjoy doing? And then you start to have those conversations and you instill in them, especially with everything that's going around, that no matter what, you're capable of doing great things. And by just having the conversation and listening, you're going to hear all their ideas. And then you say, okay, so how can I support you in doing that? You as a parent will start to look for resources. There's a lot of free resources online. Connect with me when I start my foundation. It's registered. Programs are coming for the youth. They can enroll in programs like that. But have the conversation is the first step. Find out what your children are interested in. And then you start by doing little things where they can build monetary. Maybe it's a leaving lemonade stand. Like my daughter and I were going to plan to sell cupcakes outside our house at the garage this summer, right? COVID free, like, or COVID with COVID parameters in place. But you just start. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just have the conversation. Does that help, Felicio? Yeah? And stop saying you're a bad parent. You're not, okay?
I know, I'm sorry. I have one more question though. Let me put my hand down. So we had a little bit of a conversation a few months ago, and she mentioned a not-for-profit organization. She wants to start that, which would assist in helping to feed homeless people. So how would you suggest, like, what knowing everything you know, I don't know that much right now. So how would you help her achieve her goals?
Oh, your little girl? Is it your daughter?
Yeah,
Okay, so you know what? How old is she?
she's 9.
Hey, do you have twins? That's so nice. 9 and 9,
I
eh?
wish I had twins. No. I have one, just one. Feels like 5.
So again, vision. So she wants to start feeding kids. It's not too young to have a vision board session with your child. Now, in a nutshell, there's a correct way to do a vision board, visuals. So you start thinking about, what does she want? She wants to feed kids, or she wants to feed adults. There's a lot of organizations right now doing that. Help her, maybe she can volunteer. But then the best thing is you have the resource of online tools, Google. Everything's on the government website. How to set up a nonprofit from A to Z is all there. So you as the parent would guide her. You'd obviously have to do the heavy lifting. You're the parent, but you could guide her in what that looks like. And you're gonna have to be a huge support system in making that a reality. So you're gonna have to caution yourself with, yes, those baby steps, but if she wants to make that happen, and while she's passionate about it, now's the time to start encouraging her there, right? So if you want, I can give you a guide on how to start nonprofits. I can't do that in a quick little Q&A, but it's all online. If you need some support or mentorship, I'm here for you. But yes, it's a great idea. Build the vision, start thinking about the name, think about who you want to feed, how we're going to feed them, or, is it through your own home? Are you cooking food? And like, there's regulations around that. So you have to do the research. Everything begins with research, but it's all out there, free and available. And then you need the money, some of the capital for the startup costs. Does that help? Yeah?
But it raises another question. I'm sorry. So this goes towards me being busy. So I'm one person.
Yes.
I'm single parent. So obviously trying to focus on business, then working, parenting, and then a whole lot of other things. How do you suggest, I don't know, how do you suggest making all that work?
I'm a single mom and full-time business owner. I used to work in corporate, so I was doing the business and the corporate and the mom and everything else, and still working on building her business. And I get it, it's a lot. The thing is, and I want to say, if you don't take care of you and put food on the table, you have to be the number one priority. You got to do that first. So get your priorities in order. But every Saturday, sit down, like I said with my daughter, now it's our time to create. So just have a day of the week on the weekends when you're not working, when you're not doing business, when they're gone to bed, you're probably working on your business, who knows? On, Sunday, maybe you're at church, whatever, but Saturdays is the perfect day to sit down and say, you know what? It's your day to day. Let's focus on your goals and your dreams. And it may take a year to build out what we need, but let's just start. And as you start with that momentum, they'll be excited. Every Saturday is business planning for my business with mommy. And you can actually do your business stuff there too at the table. They're working on their stuff, you're working on your stuff. It's a business strategy day and it's fun for everybody. So it's prioritizing yourself and not burning yourself out, knowing to shut down and knowing that it takes time to build a brand, takes time to build a successful business. And all you got to do is keep moving those little baby steps. Like today I said, you know what? I got to at least connect with 3 key people, make 3 key connects, did that. Okay, tomorrow's another 3. Maybe that goal that you need to set with your children and yourself will help you to streamline what your weeks are going to look like, your days are going to look like. Sounds good? And you can do it. You can do it. You just can't do it all today, girl. Trust me, I get it. Okay, great. I see your hand up there. What's your question?
Hi, Natasha.
Hey.
My question to you is, you mentioned some key platforms that you use right now to grow your business, and YouTube wasn't one of them. And I just wanted to know why, because I just find it to be, it's huge. And I know a lot of people who are successful on YouTube right now, a lot of the time they tell you like YouTube is where it's at. I know it's a saturated platform. But then again, I don't know how long it is that you've been in business as well. So why not YouTube?
That's a great question. You know, when I started, I've been a full-time entrepreneur since September 2018. So almost 3 years. It was a huge leap to leave my corporate, my comfort zone. And I got like mortgages and bills and all that stuff. And a single mom, it's rough, but I had to take the leap of faith. And it's not easy, but you keep going, right? Why am I not on YouTube? When I started, I was doing a lot of videos on YouTube. And I found, yes, I got great views and that was nice, but you got to find what works for you. With my business, I find that it's nice to get views. I stopped doing that because it was time intensive to create a good YouTube video that you want to do caption. It was just heavy content or heavy time spent. So that's why I stopped. Not to say I probably won't, but now there's Instagram Live. So I do my weekly Instagram Lives. That's an hour. I gain a lot of awareness, a lot of clients that way. It's just about being strategic with your time. Now, if you want to be and you need to be on YouTube, depending on your business, then do that. But when you're there, you got to be consistent. So I just made the choice of, I only have this much time, this much resources. What really is going to give me the ROI, the return on my investment? LinkedIn is now my major focus. That's where you need to be. And you know what? LinkedIn, I don't know what kind of product or business you're in. Trey, what do you serve or what do you do for your business?
Yeah, the service-based business. So basically, we'll say aesthetics.
Aesthetics. So do like hair, nails?
No, it's like permanent makeup for brows and then like whatever other brow service. So basically it's a brow business. And so anything to do with brows, if it's permanent makeup, if it's shaping, if it's tinting, if it's hair removal, that's what I focus on.
Okay, so then if you were on YouTube, then what do you think the value would be? Teaching people about your services? Like what would be the big gain for you there, do you think, on YouTube?
Well, so, and that's the thing too, I just wonder, I never really know how much is too much in terms of like teaching and giving free information. So, I mean, because I could make videos of my entire process, but then at what point do you say, okay, this is enough information, and realize that it maybe is building an entrepreneur and not a client, right? So that's the thing. So I mean, I do have a few YouTube videos up, but it really has nothing to do with my brow business. It's just for, I'm a full-time makeup artist, so it's just for the makeup outlet of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and like we just said, you want to be strategic. You don't want to give people the exact formula and process, right? And everything, right? So you have to think, like, for me as a strategist, I gave you a formula and questions, but my expertise comes in extracting that from you. You can't do that essentially on your own. That's my USP and the energy that I bring, right? And the skill sets. Now, if you tell everybody how to do everything that you're doing, they have no need to call you. So I thought this is wherever you're going to be, you want to give just enough information to build credibility, to build trust, so people know what you're doing, but there has to be a reason why they want to call you after. So don't give it all away, but give just enough. And I find, like, if you think about LinkedIn, think about where your audience is, permanent makeup, brow make, all those things, you're going to find good clients on LinkedIn. You're potentially going to find some on YouTube, but YouTube is heavily saturated, heavily. So you're putting in a lot of investment of time, and who knows, unless you're doing paid ads, who's going to really watch it. So just consider that. I think you should use YouTube for a way to engage with people on a, the makeup style, and, you can do coach makeup tutorials and stuff like that, and then lead them to the brow. This is like the service that I do, and that add-on, that upsell.
Or aftercare. With your clients that you have now, do you ever recommend YouTube as a powerful outlet for them to gain traction towards their business, or do you kind of steer more away from YouTube when you're
It depends on what the product or the service is and where the audience is, right? So it really does depend. Like, if you're, for example, I have a client who has a fitness business, she should be on YouTube.
Yeah.
On there, she needs to be doing workouts and having people see her stuff. That makes sense. But if she was like a blogger or whatever, I wouldn't put her on YouTube. I'd say, look, you need to be on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is where people want to read. LinkedIn, people don't even like watching videos really on LinkedIn. They like content. Content is king on LinkedIn. So it just depends on who your audience is, where are they, what is your offering? Does it match where they need to be? And like I said, you don't have to be everywhere, just be where they are. Pick 3 main platforms, trade that work for you, and focus your energy there. Once that's booming, then you can extend and go to another one, because then you have more time. But don't spread yourself thin trying to be everywhere, and then you're not consistent, you're not giving good quality, and then people lose interest. And as we know, people's attention span right now is 3 seconds, maybe up to 3 minutes maximum. You got to catch them in the first 3 seconds for them to even want to watch you. And that in itself is a challenge, but it's also an opportunity.
Yeah. So you're saying TikTok. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, thank you.
Right? So you're welcome. Fatu, is your hand up, or is that it?
If that's it, Natasha is gonna be here with us tomorrow, everyone. So we can carry the questions to tomorrow.
Okay. I was talking alone here. I was on mute.
Oh, yeah, you can ask as we close up, Fatu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I said you were talking about content and the 1 hour you do every week on IG. How do you do that? Like, even talking for 3 minutes, for me, it's like you asking me to talk for a week, and I love talking. So how do you do that?
So how do I do this? Like, how do I talk every week? Like,
the content, because I tried to put out a video for, I think, 3 minutes, and I felt like I was spending a week to explain something, but in real time, I'm the type to talk and to explain. And I've been teaching when I was at university, so this is something I love. But at the same time, I just can't get it. When people say, "Oh, I had that IGTV for 1 hour," I was like, "Oh my God, what were you saying?" This is something that mysteriously for me, really.
Okay, so my thing is the first Monday of every month, I just have a segment with just me, and I have a topic. So build your content strategy. You need a content strategy for every episode you're gonna do, whatever. Like, what is the goal that you want to get through? Like, what are the strategies you're gonna share? What are you talking about? So I build mine out. I also have guests on the other days. So I'm not just talking to myself, I'm talking to guests. I have questions beforehand that they receive, so they know it's a conversation. So if you want to be live for 3 minutes, don't just be on to not say anything. Have your content structured. Tell your audience what you're going to be talking about. So join me tomorrow, or join me today. I'm talking about healthcare or childcare tips to help, whatever that may be. Stay relevant, and have content people are going to want to listen into. And then like I said,
Yeah.
always don't be marketing. Like there's a difference between marketing, like sell, build the relationship, share content, and naturally people are going to want to do business with you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Natasha. It's lovely to have you here. This was a great presentation. And as always, happy to see everyone and having you on here. We have an amazing event tomorrow where Natasha is one of our panelists, so don't miss that. I put the registration link in the chat. There are 2 places to register on Eventbrite or on our website. And this is going to be featuring our business side of things. So the BCB in action, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what programs we have for you. We're going to talk about what resources we have for you. We're going to have some giveaways. Hello. So please register and join us tomorrow. It's going to be from 6 to 7:30. And yes, so again, we always have this business program every other week. And this is the Empowering Black Entrepreneurs to run successful business projects. I know it's a mouthful, but just call it the business program. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Thank you so much, Natasha.
Hey everyone, if you're wondering about strategy and everything, I do have an ebook. It's $25. It's literally like a cost of a meal on my website. You can buy it and it gives you the formulation how to create SMART goals, strategies, and so forth. So that might be a resource that will be a great resource that you can use, okay, to take away some of the things I brought with you today or share with you today. Sounds good?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. But I wanted more question about challenges that we encounter as Black entrepreneur.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
I can't wait for that. Can I share candidly what the real problem is? And I'm going to share it tomorrow if I get asked the question. But you know what the truth is? We are having challenges because of the first thing when people, you know what, I'm going to say it for tomorrow. Come back tomorrow.
You can draw her in today.
I'm just trying to give the taste.
A taste. You know what? Well, you know, the fact of the matter is we are living in a world where racism exists. It's I've dealt with so many levels of microaggression, racism as I've been born here. It doesn't really matter. Even as a business, the key is if I tell myself every day that no one's going to do business with me because I'm Black and whatever not, I will not get business. You got to reframe your mindset and work with people who, not everybody's a racist, who will work with you. Secondly, as Black people, we need to support each other. Think about the Jewish community. Business stays within the Jewish community. Why can we stop competing with each other and can we start building each other up? And saying, hey, I want to work with you. I see you do makeup. I'm going to buy my makeup from you. I want to get my brows done. I'm going to go to you. I see you have childcare. I'm going to send my daughter there. When we get that mindset of supporting each other and not thinking, hey, if I buy from her, I'm helping her to buy a nice home or a nice car. Once we change our mindset, we're going to be better off. But it starts with us. I can't change people's frame of mind out there. All I can say is together we're stronger. And I'm praying for this every day for my little girl to not have to go through the things I go through as an entrepreneur, as a woman. Even as a single mom, like the things that we have to deal with. So that's the key. That's my tidbit, Dr. Zita. And tomorrow we will talk more about that. And I want to hear what your philosophies are around that, okay?
Great, thank you.
Dr. Zita, did you register for tomorrow?
Yes, indeed.
All right. What? Trey, did you register? Fatu, I'm seeing some
Oh,
people
yeah.
here.
Last time we met, I was already registered.
Just checking, just making sure.
Where do I register, Cassie?
I just put a link on the chat. I don't know if you saw. I'm gonna go ahead and put
Okay,
a
yeah,
link
I
again.
will RSVP. I see it here.
I will call you. I'll be like, hey,
Please
hey.
Natasha. Oh, okay.
Send me the link tomorrow.
Yes. All right.
I'm on your website. The hard book, the hard copy for your book. Is it like the one I can write on?